I got fired from Baskin Robbins for licking my fingers. Swear to God, it's the truth.
Well, they were right.
They were right. But I didn't,
Crazy gross.
Because the ice cream would melt down your arm, and I would like lick it and be like, "This is so good."
Oh God!
I know. I was a kid. I didn't know any. This
Can you imagine like Girl Scouts coming in and some perverted redhead dude is licking his hands, licking all the cream off of himself?
Dude, I remember this one guy. He, you know how you could get free samples. He had me feed him a sample. He's like, my hands are kind of full for my groceries, and he like leans in. He's like, can you put it in my mouth? And I was just like, and I did it. And then I was like, oh, they want me in the back, and I was like, that wasn't right. There's something weird about that.
That wasn't right.
Yeah.
I'm also gonna need your phone number.
Yeah. No, and then I remember the boss used to park out in the parking lot and spy on us with binoculars. And we're back. One of my favorites, Mr. Mike Black Attack.
Hi, America.
Hi, America. And the world. Dude, by the way, I get these charts for the podcast, and I don't know why I'm always getting the alerts when it shows me going like further down the chart, like not up the chart, but still, I'm in the top 200. I'm in the top 200 in Germany. The Pocket Party podcast, top 200 in Germany. It's number 199.
Well, that's great news for you and for Germany. I couldn't be happier for both of you. It shows that they really have good taste.
Yeah, I like how they scour the internet, like this service I use. I forget what it's called, but they look at all the charts, the Apple charts, iTunes charts, like from all around the world. And I've been in the American charts, but never in the top 200. If I'm being honest. And,
what would you say is the highest you've gotten in the American charts?
Honestly, I think it was number 399, and I made myself feel good by saying, you know what? There's thousands of podcasts, and if I made it down to 399, They're okay. Yeah.
It's $3.99 in closing.
Exactly.
You're getting there.
I'm getting there. Yeah. It's it's funny when you look at those stats where it's like, you have listeners and it's not even English speaking countries. And I would just imagine that it's like expatriates or probably military, that
I just want to say, look out Dale Gooberton's Farm Talk, because Darren Carter is nipping at your heels.
That's right, buddy. Here I come. Oh, you never guessed. You know who was number 200? It was, what's his name? He's actually on Comedy Central a lot. It's actually, his podcast is put out by Comedy Central. He's the guy that does all the one-liners. He's very funny, but his punchlines are kind of evil. Like he's got that evil vibe. One-liners. Yes.
Not Nick.
If I haven't deleted the photo off my phone, I will let you know right now. You would know this guy. He's like
Nick Boone?
No, that guy's not really. I wouldn't say evil. This guy's more like he used to date Amy Schumer.
Jeselnik.
Yes, Anthony Jeselnik. Yeah. I mean, evil in a good way. In case you're watching Anthony, but you know what I mean. Like,
a real sweetheart of a guy, but his jokes are very, very, very dark.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, and he kind of has that like devilish look with the look, like, yeah. By the way, speaking, I don't know, the look of my punchlines or can you handle it? I don't know.
I hope that's what he's thinking when he's.
You're thinking I'm going to go one way, but I'm going to go the other way.
The can you handle it way.
Can you handle my evil punchline? No, that's probably not even his attitude at all. By the way,
your idea of a villain is fantastic.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I shaved the mohawk. Remember, I was trying to grow my hair up there, and you roasted me, and you did a great job at it.
Even though you didn't ask me to.
Yeah, exactly. But it wasn't like, hey, can you roast me? It was just like, what do you think? And then you let it fly for 5 minutes.
And then I just told the truth. But I kind of feel like you have to do that. I would prefer the friend that lets you know if you have a booger hanging, than the one that doesn't.
Yeah, like if there's something hanging off your shoulder, you're supposed to kind of like, that piece of lint is just driving me nuts, and then you just take it off. Like if a friend has like hair like right here, and he's like, you like I put gel on it. You're like, dude, I kind of let you know, like, no, it's
Yeah. I just did it publicly in on your show, but it was the same idea. It was done with love.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll be a hit in Germany, and I'll break in the top 100 over there.
I would love to be a hit in Germany. As you know, I'm an action figure collector. The big thing in Germany, and it's also a big thing for me, Masters of the Universe. They love them some He-Man.
Wow.
Skeletor, that sort of stuff.
That's cool.
It's a big blonde, blue-eyed guy riding around with a sword and an axe. What's not to like? And but they really enjoy He-Man over there.
You know what's funny about that? I don't know why this memory just popped in my mind, but I went to church camp growing up in Fresno, and they combined our church with 2 other churches, and there was this guy that was like a guest speaker, and he was just tearing down all the pop culture and this and that, and you know how they always say there's like messages and stuff, and
sure.
He went after He-Man. He was like, "There's only one master of the universe, and it ain't He-Man or whatever."
Right.
Or whatever. It's kind of like, I just want to be entertained,
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't think He-Man was, shooting for godhood, but maybe he was. Maybe he was like, once I go on enough adventures, I'll become god of this land and just rule over everyone.
I know. It's like,
but like the thing is, all that stuff came from mythology, which is very religious, in its own way.
Yeah.
And it's like, I remember seeing an old special that these 2 like very, very hardcore fringe Christians did on how evil every toy was out there. And they were like, and the worst is Masters of the Universe. And they were like, the bad guy has a staff with a ram's head on it. That's a satanic thing. And he's a skull with a hood, and that symbolizes death. And they all call themselves Masters of the Universe. And they fight over this castle that's all powerful and stuff like that. And it delves into the occult, and it's like preparing children for the occult. And as a 6-year-old kid, I was like, technically you guys are right, because that is definitely what's happening, but it's a lot of fun, and none of us kids are taking it anywhere near as seriously as you guys are.
Yeah, you're just having some fun with it. Then you're like, let's switch over to the Smurfs, and the guy was like, Smurfs are blue. You're describing the dead, and why is there, and like,
right?
I remember even then I was like, it's
Smurfs were essentially like, all of the shit they're saying is not untrue. Smurfs were conjured by a wizard. It's basically black magic to conjure up living things. And anytime you create a living thing, you're a type of god. So they were doing all sorts of weird. It was the 80s, a lot of stuff floating around. My Little Pony, talking animals, that's not cool either. There's all sorts of stuff.
I love Scooby-Doo, though. That was my thing. Scooby-Doo was great.
Scooby-Doo, yeah. I'm pretty sure somewhere in the Bible it says that a dog and a hippie aren't allowed to solve murder mysteries together. I don't know the exact chapter and verse, but I'm pretty sure it's in there somewhere.
Did you get into Popeye cartoons?
I liked Popeye. I liked the movie Popeye more, the Robin Williams take on it. I thought that was a lot of fun. And
I remember Robin Williams made a joke out of it once on a talk show back then. They were like, so he called it. He goes, I'd like to refer to that as box office poison.
Yeah. And I think that was the first time that got used to describe a movie. But I thought I was essentially who it was aimed at. I was a little kid, and I thought it was great. And
I used to love Popeye, man. That was the reason Popeye's the reason I eat spinach. He's the reason I eat spinach, because I was like, I want to be strong like Popeye, and it just seemed funny.
Work?
Like, no, but it was. I got the hairstyle like Popeye because of the spinach.
It does. His spinach was back in the old days when they could put steroids in spinach.
Yeah.
Spinach was code for angel dust.
Why do I have all this energy and strength?
A lot of sailors just did angel dust and got into bar fights with guys that were bigger than they were, and
Yeah.
that inspired Popeye, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you plan on do you have any plans for your action figures? Like or do you just love collecting them?
I'd like to put most of them through college, but it's so expensive now.
Yeah.
Trying to find a good school for each of them, and the application process is such a pain in the ass. No, I just like having them all. I'll do photography and stuff like that every now and again. Usually it kind of cannibalizes itself. It's like every couple years a better version of Spider-Man comes out, so you end up selling off the old one to get the newest one.
Yeah.
And then after a while you go, you know what, I really miss that old one just from nostalgia.
Yeah.
And now that one costs like $500 and you're like, oh man, I shouldn't have gotten rid of that one.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, I have no idea, because there's certain hobbies you realize, like, whatever you're into, you can get into it even more. Like, if it's action figures, like, what do you start out at with action figures? Like, under $25 for an action figure, and then it just goes right on up? I don't even know.
Yeah, they go into right now, probably the best example is you can get very, like, simple action figures that have, like, the arms and legs and the head move, and they're like 3 inches tall or something. And that's about like $4, somewhere around there. But
and what would that action figure be of? That would be of something current or something that you and I grew up with?
We're talking like a McDonald's toy of something. And, and it could be just about anything really, and there's like blind box figures, which are, they do them for Masters of the Universe too, where you get a little box, but you don't know who you're going to get in it. And so you pay like $6, you open it up and go, oh, it's Skeletor, or, oh, it's Merman or whatever. And then occasionally you open it and you're like, oh, it's someone I already have. And then you trade it with some other guy or sell it on eBay or something like that. That's like the low end of collecting. On the higher end is Hasbro has a program called HasLab, which is like their Kickstarter. And they put on there things that they couldn't really sell at retail because they're just too big. And one of them was Jabba the Hutt's ship from Star Wars. And they did it, and it came with all these bells and whistles. It was huge. And it sold for $500.
Wow.
And now it is worth probably like $2,500 because a lot of people didn't know about it when it got made. And so now they're like, oh man, I want that. And then Mark Hamill bought one and tweeted about it. And all the Star Wars fans after that were like, this is a real thing, And so then they wanted it. And the thing they're doing right now is from the X-Men, and it's a Sentinel, which are these giant robots that basically hunt down and kill X-Men. And they had done one about a year ago that I thought was like as big as they were going to do one. And it was like a little over a foot. It was like 18 inches tall or something like that. Well, the one they're doing for HasLab is like a little over 2 feet, I think, 2 feet tall. Comes with electronics and like its eyes light up and all sorts of stuff. Comes with like bonus action figures and things like that. And that is going to sell for $350. And they're currently taking orders for it. But I guarantee you, after it is released, it's going to be at least $500 anywhere. Anywhere that you try to buy it. So it's not a bad investment, but that's kind of like the higher end of what action figures are costing right now.
Are there any action figures with because I was never one of those guys that got in like the only comic book people I liked was Mad Magazine. Like, does Mad Magazine have any action figures? Probably not, right?
They do.
They do? They did.
I don't know if they still do. They come around every now and again. Like a different company will get the license to do them. but DC Direct had these great ones of Alfred E. Newman. They did like a plain Alfred E. Newman, but they also, since it's DC, they did him like dressed as Batman and dressed as the Flash, stuff like that.
That's cool.
And they did some Spy versus Spy ones with that. And those are the kind of like A-game stuff that if they do a Mad Magazine set of figures, they're definitely going to do Alfred E. Newman, and they're definitely going to do Spy versus Spy. I have not seen a lot of like Sergio Aragonés like style, or some of the other cool artists that were in there, but I would like to. I think that would be cool.
That'd be really cool. That's interesting how you can get in. Did you know you were going to get into this as a hobby, or did it just start with 1 and then 2 and then grew into 5? I mean, how did it?
You know what it was? I just never stopped. When I was a kid, they just kept making cooler stuff every year, and I just never lost interest. And I was reading comics that whole time. So it was like I was constantly getting a commercial for, Iron Man or Spider-Man or what have you, way before they were very mainstream. And so for a while, product was kind of hard to find. There just wasn't anything being made. There was like, in the 80s, there was Superpowers was a line of all the DC action figures, and Secret Wars was all the Marvel action figures. And they each had about 30 or 40 total. And that was it. Once you collected those, you were done. And that was like it till well into the 90s. And, like Star Wars, everyone forgets there was a long period where nobody gave a shit about Star Wars at all after Return of the Jedi till about 95 or something like that. So for a good 10-year period, there were no products at all on the market. And then they we're going to do a big final release of all of them on VHS. And so they put out a handful of Star Wars figures to go with it, and they sold like wildfire. And so they were like, oh, there may be a market still for that. And then they did the prequels and all that, And with Marvel stuff, it was pretty much when the first X-Men movie came out, they started making figures of that, and they were like, oh, these are selling much better than all the old crap we were doing. So it became a lot bigger. And so whereas like when I was a kid, there were like 30 or 40 Marvel figures, if a kid's coming into it now, there's upwards of probably 500 different characters, not just different versions of a guy, but like complete different characters that are out there to collect, which is kind of cool. You can build teams and stuff like that, like if you're just into X-Men, you can just collect all the X-Men figures or that sort of thing,
That's cool. Yeah, I could see like how hobbies can become expensive. Like I'm so excited that I just bought a bicycle, and I hadn't had a bike of my own for like 25 years. I did a whole I did a whole vlog on it. You guys check it out. It's on my YouTube channel. It's called Bikes Out of Stock or something like that. Because there's a shortage right now of bikes. And I was so lucky to have one. And I told you on the phone, you made me laugh so hard when I go, dude, I walk into like, there's no bikes anywhere. I know people that hit up like 4 different Walmarts, all these bike specialty stores. There's no bikes. Target's out of bikes, all the empty shelves. But I found this small town, and I found a Walmart, and I saw the last grown men's adult bicycle. And you remember what you said?
I don't.
You were just like, really? I didn't know they make bicycles for or something like that. Because I didn't want to sound selfish. Like, and I found the last bicycle and I snatched it from that little girl.
It might have been the only grown man's bicycle ever made.
Yeah, exactly. Like the tassels are like manly tassels on the handlebar.
Yeah, but, it still has the little ring bell on it and stuff.
Yeah. Ring, ring, ring. It's funny, but
I think that sound was enough to make me go, I'm out. I'm not gonna ride a bike.
But it's cool. Like they're not that expensive. Like I got one for my son. It was like $100, and then the one that I got was it's a Schwinn 29er. It's 29-inch wheel, and it's really big and 7-speed. And anyway, it's like 250, which I'm like, okay, that's reasonable. I didn't realize.
Do you feel kind of tough when you tell the other bike riders? Yeah, I drive a 29er.
Yeah. 29er. I didn't even realize that was a thing. Like they call it.
No,
29er.
it's not a thing.
It's not a thing. Yeah.
Not to real people. It's not a thing.
I'm like, yeah, got my 29er. Yeah. Yeah. And then I actually told comedian, Johnny Sanchez, comedian Johnny Sanchez, for those listening. And I go, yeah, you got a 29er, which he was like really like excited, like. Maybe because he's 5'5", and the 29ers, it says it's for people 6 feet
to him
above.
It's pretty big, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, holy cow! Yeah.
I mean, all the girls watching this are like, Darren's so dreamy. He drives a 29er.
That's right. Yeah, from Walmart. No, it's funny because my son's bike, it's for people 5'2" to 5'10", and then my bike is for people 6 feet and above, and I'm like. And I'm 5'10" and a half, so I'm like in that no man's land of bicycles, I guess, So, so of course, guys, we want to like, we're like, I'd rather be taller, so I'm like, well, yeah, let me get the 29er.
Yeah, yeah. If you're right on the cutoff, it's like, well, I'll do the 29er. I can handle it.
Yeah, it's funny with the bicycle though, like. It's affordable, $250, $100. It's not that bad, $100, And
how much would your private shrink up if someone said the 29er might just be too much bike for you?
I know. I'm like, why are these pedals so big? Like my feet are getting lost in them. It's like that ain't for you, boy. You ain't ready for no 29er. That's for a real man. Yeah. Oh, I would show you this, but it would look so creepy. I'm not going to show it to you, but I have bruises on the inside of both of my thighs from.
Thank you for
exactly
using your best
judgment. Dude, I got these bruises, right? I'm not even kidding. And my wife goes, what is that? And I go, I don't know. I think but it's not the bicycle seat. It turns out it's that bar that goes in between, the man bar or whatever.
Right.
And, I think when I'm about to fall off the bike, the bar goes slam and it slams into my inner leg. And so I know, dude, it sucks. My wife Googled, like, is it normal to have bruises on your inside of your thighs from your 29er? And it said that it's very common.
It took her to a very disgusting site.
Exactly. You're like, hey, Darren, bookmark that and send it to me. No,
yeah.
No, hey, I got your action figure. Oh, no. It said it's very common with newbies to get bruises on their legs from a bicycle. So
that is true. It is very common for newbies.
I felt less. I felt like, I didn't feel like an alpha male anymore when I have bruises on my legs. So I'm like, damn, this hurts. Like,
when your bike is hurting you.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I thought about that. Like, because I'm like, this is a good workout. And then my son just zips past me. And I'm like, is this really a good workout? Or am I just getting older and weaker? Like everything's hard, right? Like, it's hard to go up the hills. I'm riding in the dirt. It's like,
No.
Yeah. But these bikes, man, it was pretty affordable. And then today I went to, I took my son, we went around and we went to,
what brand of bike have you got there?
Schwinn. I got a Schwinn Boundary. Schwinn Boundary.
It's top of the line.
I mean, it's a name I recognize. I don't know but I mean, it's, they're
the best in the world. They put the huffy folk to shame.
Look at this. If you're watching on YouTube and you don't want to click on my other video, there's the bike right there. Look at that. Look at that. It's pretty nice, now, right?
Have any of the bike manufacturers ever explained why the boy bike,
I know,
where male genitalia goes, has the iron bar right next to it so that if you stop or slow down or anything even remotely happens, you're definitely going to get racked.
Well, I got to be honest, Mike. It hasn't caused a problem for me at all.
That's nothing to brag about, Darren.
I mean, I can hit that bar all day, and it misses me every time. Hey-oh. No.
Oh no.
No, you're right. You're right though. You're right about that. It's why does it do that? Because it's the worst spot, man, for a boy.
It seems so unsafe.
Yeah.
And but they insist on putting it on there. I hopefully now that gender politics is changing,
Yeah.
we'll just get one bike that doesn't have that.
Yes. Yep.
Boy bikes, girl bikes, all bikes just won't have that metal bar of destruction.
Yeah. Although that bar is pretty. What's great about the bar, because it's at an angle, and if you guys can picture sort of a triangle, you guys know what bikes look like, and you're able to like have like a little saddlebag you can fasten to it, which I did. I went out and purchased a little saddlebag so you could put your cell phone in there, or your like a spare bottle of water or something. So that's kind of cool.
No, it isn't.
Yeah.
It's really not.
Yeah.
It's so extra not cool that you're purchasing things on the side to add onto your bike to make it feel like a car.
I know. I was like, all of a sudden I was like, man, I feel like, because I'm on these country roads, there's nobody around, but I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm a cop and I'm patrolling the forest out here. Like, yeah, even though there's nobody around and my legs hurt from the bruises. But
now, when I was a kid, my bike had a mini like megaphone / walkie-talkie / ham radio.
Dude, that's great.
Thing on the handlebar. And for about a day, I thought it was great. And then I realized there was no other kid had a walkie-talkie like that. So there was really no one else to talk to. I think like one day I picked up a truck driver, I think, for, a few minutes. That was about it.
Breaker 19. This is my...
Yeah, I was like, I don't know any of your signals. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. That'd be like the saddest thing is your bike gets stolen and the guy taunts you through a bullhorn as he's riding away. Yeah. I got your bike.
That would be... That sounds like something that would happen to me too as a kid,
My son and I, we went to 3 different bike stores today here in Burbank, and 2 were closed, 1 was open, and I just wanted to get a feel like, what would it be like if I bought a bike in Burbank? Dude, these mountain bikes.
Did you really think that? That's what went through your head? I
kind of did. I kind of like, what would it be like? Like, well, there's so much traffic here. It would be, I guess there's a will, there's a way. You could figure out how to ride a bike, but like without getting hit by a car.
I thought you meant, what would the experience of buying a bike in Burbank be like? And I was like, you have really weird goals. That's all you want out of life is to... Yeah. I want to buy a bike, but I want to buy it somewhere that sucks.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That could be a new challenge for you. You could buy action figures in different cities to see what the experience is like.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. You're the one who wants to do that sort of crap.
But I went into this bike store.
I want to buy shoes in Des Moines, Iowa,
just to see what it's like.
Yeah. Pretty sure it's the same sort of shoes as anywhere else.
Yeah. The ones in Kansas are different. You click your heels, they always take you home. Hey, I'm getting some weird feedback.
You are probably always getting weird feedback.
Yes. I don't know if you moved your phone or not, but okay.
Is it better now?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
It is better now. So these bikes that I looked at, they're like $5,000, man. The cheaper ones are $2,500. You can't. I don't know how a person can just walk into a place and get into. You know what I mean? It's insane. Like if you want, unless you want on Craigslist. It
makes my hobby sound a lot more reasonable.
Yeah, it really does. I'm telling you, I looked at like some cool looking bikes, and I look, and there's like $5,000. Like, wow.
It's 2 tires and a couple of sticks. What are they?
I know. I saw. I think there was one that wasn't that attractive, and it was like $2,500.
$2,500 for a bike.
That wasn't attractive. Yeah. My bike was attractive. I looked at my bike. I'm like, I was impressed. I was like, it looks good, and it was $250.
That's really not bad.
I know.
Compared to $2,500 for an ugly bike.
Yeah, it was okay, but Okay, I got one for you. Ready? I got a new topic for you. Check this out. I I saw this when we went to the LA County Fair one year, and it was posted. They had a duplicate of an old schoolhouse. I mean, they had the dunce cap, they had the whole nine, everything you'd see maybe like on the Little Rascals or something. And in this old schoolroom, they had rules for teachers. This is 1915. That's how far they're going back. 105 years. And I'm going to read this list. It's like 12 things. And stop me if you have anything you'd like to riff on. Any thoughts? Here we go. Ready? Okay. Rules for teachers, 1915. You will not marry during the term of your contract.
At all. Like,
as long as you're contracted by the school, you are not to marry.
Seems weird, but okay.
Number two.
Why?
I don't know. They want you to focus only on teaching the children, I guess. I don't know. That is weird.
Seems like a shortcut to pervert town.
Number two, number two, you are not to keep company with men.
Yep. This is
number
crazy.
3. Yeah. Number 3, you must be home between the hours of 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. unless attending a school function.
Oh my God.
Number 4, you may not loiter downtown in ice cream stores.
Specifically ice cream stores.
Right. Maybe that was a thing back
you know what
then.
it is?
Yeah.
A lot of traveling whores picked guys up at ice cream stores.
They're like, hey, they're outside that Baskin Robbins. They're like, 31, I'll give you an extra flavor.
Yeah. They were like, no, you can't do both. You can either come to town to teach or you can come to town to whore, but we're not letting you do both.
Yeah, exactly. You may not travel beyond the city limits without the permission of the chairman of the board.
What board?
You may not
board
ride. You may not ride in a carriage or automobile with any man unless he is your father or brother.
Man.
You may not smoke cigarettes. Oh, by the way, I thought this was kind of cool. I read this recently. This young lady, she goes, "Hey, look, I'm smoking." And this guy is kind of a wise ass. He goes, "Actually, your cigarette is smoking. You're merely the sucker."
Uh-huh.
No one's impressed with that. I've told 3 people that. None of them thinks it's cool. Like, I thought
maybe you should take 4 out of 4 as a hint. It's not very funny.
Yeah. Like, get it, the cigarette smoking, you're merely the sucker. You know what, maybe I'm going to,
no, we all get it.
Yeah, I'm going to delete that off my mind. Yeah,
I guarantee the other 3 got it too.
Yeah.
It's just not a good joke.
Yeah. And actually, I changed the words because I thought it'd make it like better. But the original words were, a daughter tells her father, "Hey, Daddy, I'm smoking." "No, daughter, you're merely the sucker." My wife was like, "Oh, gross, sucking," telling her daughter. I'm like, oh, gosh, okay, all right.
Somehow it made it even worse to me that a stranger was saying that to her.
Oh.
It's just like, you're the sucker.
Yeah, he's popping.
That's basically what it is. It's porn dialogue.
You want to meet me at the ice cream parlor after dark? I'm going to bang you like it's 1915. All right, here we go.
Get ready to try my hazelnut.
My hazelnut. Hey, by the way, the first time I tried pralines and cream, I was 16 years old, working in. Yeah, I was where I worked at Baskin.
Does that make me gay? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. That should be my question for everybody on the podcast. And how old were you when you first tried pralines and cream? If you know what I mean.
It's actually a very delicious flavor, but yeah.
Yeah.
If you waited till you were 16 to try it, that's kind of weird.
Well, like, we grew up with like vanilla, strawberry, chocolate, very boring, Rocky Road if it was crazy. Maybe what's the other one? Thin mint or something, or mint chocolate.
You didn't have the 31 flavors and try out everything?
We never went there. I the first time I went there was that I remember is when I got a job there. I worked there for like 3 months. Baskin Robbins. 31
now,
flavors.
what do you feel like was the unsung hero flavor? Like the flavor that nobody was getting but was awesome.
Oh, probably back then it was probably like the banana. I like that banana flavor that I thought was delicious back then, and I love the
Uh-huh.
pralines and cream, and I like the cookies and cream. That was my.
What
I
about
love those.
pralines and cream and banana? Would you go for that?
I
Like a
don't know.
banana split?
Oh yeah, that would be good. That was delicious. Yeah.
Um, do you remember there was a brief period? I'm not sure if you were working at Baskin Robbins at the time. They did a Halloween thing where they made little red devils, but they were
Ooh.
made out of watermelon sorbet, not ice cream, but sorbet, and they were delicious. Do you remember
Wow.
those?
They
And they
probably
don't
had. Yeah.
do that flavor anymore.
They probably had that, but there was the sorbet section was at the far end of the store, and I never liked it. I was like sorbets. I'm like I'm here for ice cream, damn it, not no weird shit. That's the way I used
So
to
you were
think.
a purist.
Yeah. I'm a purist. I like pralines and cream, things my mom won't
And
buy
that's
me.
it.
Yeah. I mean, I have a joke out of it, but this is the truth.
Yeah.
I got fired from Baskin Robbins for licking my fingers. Swear to God, it's the truth.
Well, they were right. That
They
is
were right. They were right. But I didn't,
crazy gross to
because
do
the
in
ice cream
public.
would melt down your arm, and I would like lick it and be like, "This is so good."
Oh
I
God!
know. I was a kid. I didn't know any. This is
Can
the
you imagine
80s.
like Girl
Yeah.
Scouts coming in and some perverted redhead
Yeah.
dude is licking his
Yeah.
hands, licking all the cream off of himself?
Dude, I remember this one guy. You know how you could get free samples.
Uh-huh.
He had me feed him a sample. Like he's like
Oh,
he's like my hands are kind of full for my groceries, and he like leans in. He's like, can you put it in my mouth? And I was just like, and I did it, and
no.
then I was like, oh, they want me in the back, and I was like, that wasn't right. There's something weird about that. Like, I
That
didn't.
wasn't right.
Yeah.
I'm also going to need your phone number.
Yeah. No, and then I remember the boss he used to park out in the parking lot and spy on us with binoculars. Like this, they didn't
Did
have
he
close
think?
circuit. Yeah,
Did he think they didn't know that you guys didn't see him out there?
yeah, because the customers would be like, just so you know, there's a guy in a green station wagon, and he's watching you guys with binoculars. And
We
we're like,
know.
yeah, we know he does. He's known to do that. You know, it's like his thing. Like, he was very. I mean, it was probably his
That's
first
his
business.
thing.
Yeah, he wanted us to like at the big tubs of ice cream. You had to like break it down and scrape every last drop of ice cream out of it. Like he didn't want any waste. Which
Yeah.
maybe he poured his life money, into that thing.
I'm sure. I'm sure it's important to do that, but at
Yeah.
what cost? If people
Yeah.
coming to your shop thinks some psycho is in the parking lot, that's
It's
can't be
funny
good
now
for
that
business
I'm a
either.
grown up. I remember when I got the job. I remember I went to his apartment, and this is Fresno. So I got the I remember I went to the meeting with him and his wife, and I remember him using the phrase. This is the first time I heard the phrase "Welcome aboard," and he shook my hand, and I was like, looking back, I'm like, yeah, that was like a 1-bedroom apartment in the '80s. Like he probably, like I said, poured his life's money into running this Baskin Robbins or whatever,
Yeah, that is
Maybe.
weird.
Yeah. So I got fired for licking my fingers, and I deserved it. And hey, what do you expect? Okay, back to this list. We're almost done with this teacher list.
All right.
You may not dress in bright colors. You may under no circumstances dye your hair. You must wear at least 2 petticoats. Your dresses must not be any shorter than 2 inches above the ankle. And to keep a schoolroom clean, you must sweep the floor at least once daily, scrub the floor with soapy water at least once a week, clean the blackboard at least once a day, start the fire at 7 a.m. so that the room will be warm by 8 a.m.
Damn.
So we found out Billy Joel who started the fire. It was those teachers. 7
That
a.m.
was some hard living that they had to do.
Dude, I know.
And it makes me think, how many loose women did they have in town that had been teachers that they had to run out of town because someone got shot over them or something,
Right.
and they were like, no, we need harder rules. Each one of those rules came because of something that happened. That's usually how rules work.
Yeah.
And there was like, we let them go with the 3-inch skirts for the longest time. We got to move it down to 2 inches.
Yeah, little Billy's getting a boner over here.
Yeah. I can't have all our kids going home with boners. That
Yeah.
can't be right.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't really have any crazy strict teachers. I mean, there were a little bit back then, like in the 80s. I mean, I was trying to think about like, you know how like they were very strict, obviously 1915, and then I'm sure as the years went by, like I remember hearing older comedians always doing jokes about Catholic school and the nuns would hit our knuckles with like sticks and rulers,
Yeah.
and you know, and I think all that stuff is totally gone now, right? Like with cell
I hope
phones
so,
and computers, and yeah, I don't think that's happening now, but I wonder if we're gonna find like a happy medium a little bit, because I've also seen those crazy videos where the kids are fighting and beating, and it's like that's not good either, you know. Like,
Yeah.
it's interesting to.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, we didn't have we had a few teachers that were old school that like dressed like old fashioned school marms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I remember in middle school having a teacher that she wore like a leather mini skirt every day. And I was like, does she know how crazy that is? Like all the boys in this class that are just they're just learning about stuff like that. It's it was rough. It was weird. You know.
I remember going through I was gonna say going through puberty, but I remember that ding blew my mind. What was that thing? Was that an email alert or something off one of our computers? I don't know what
I
that
didn't
was.
hear it.
It's probably in my computer because I have that computer that I got to reset the settings. Anyways, so yeah, I remember in 8th grade, there was our art teacher. The big rumor on campus was that he was a black belt in karate, and he was if you could just imagine Chuck Norris as an art teacher, like cowboy boots, jeans. He used to part his hair in the middle, and he kind of looked like an eagle, like his nostrils would flare. And you'd hear rumors that like if you pissed him off, he was very calm, but when he blew his stack, they said that he's picked up students in their desk and throw them into the bushes outside his door. And that was like the rumor.
He would do what?
He would pick you up in your desk and literally throw you outside, and you'd land in the bushes. That was the rumor about Mr. Pittman back then.
Mr. Pittman.
Yeah. I also heard there was also a rumor that he told this one kid that his son was the same age, and that he also was a black belt in karate, and if you wanted to come back to the school on Saturday, his son would kick your ass. So
wow.
It's funny as an adult now, like I wonder how much of that crap was just rumors, how much of it was true. Did he really do it?
I kind of hope all of it was just a rumor that he started, and then he didn't even have kids or anything like that.
Exactly.
Just messing with everyone.
Yeah, there was one thing I do remember him. I remember like kind of forgetting whose class I was in when I did this. There was a bucket, and I remember the bucket was full of water, and I was just in my own world, and I was like, I wonder if I spin this bucket around, if the water will stay in the bucket because of the centrifugal force.
Centrifugal force.
Yes, that word. Thank you. And I remember I was swinging the bucket around, and I was really pleased that none of it was spilling. And then I just looked up, and I realized he was watching me. He had his pencil on his desk, and he was just watching me like this. And I swear to God, dude, I'm so glad he didn't get mad, because he goes, I see what you're doing. You're seeing if the water will stay in the bucket.
Mm-hmm.
That's gravity. And then he just went back to work, and I was like, oh yeah, sorry. He probably saw the look on my face and realized, like, I don't got to scare this kid.
Yeah.
He's going to be filling that bucket up with something.
If he had just let it be silent for a moment and then said, gravity is a funny thing. Like how when I roundhouse kick you in the head, you're going to go slamming down to the earth because of gravity.
That's hysterical. Yeah. All right. In closing, there was a couple things I wanted to ask you. We talked on the phone earlier this week about rock and roll quotes, man. You know so much about music, and I love that, man. Like it's.
I know a couple of things, not a whole lot, but
well, the things you do know about, like you're really good at. So I mean, I'm setting up. I don't want to set you up for you're some sort of Jeopardy.
You're gonna ask me about
round.
something, and it's like, oh no. I don't know shit
Yeah.
about this.
What's the third phrase of the Grateful Dead? What key is that? You're like, I have no idea. No. Yeah.
That I couldn't tell you. Yeah.
No. But I was I got this book of songwriting. Where is that book? Oh, it's in the other room. Anyways, it's in the other room, and I was reading the some of these quotes, and there was a guy. I want to say his name is Merle Kilgore, and he wrote "Ring of Fire," Johnny Cash, "Ring of Fire."
Oh, okay.
And so he grew up in Louisiana, and they had the Louisiana Hayride back then. That was like a big radio show. It'd go across many states back when those FM signals were really powerful and strong. And you always hear about Wolfman Jack and how he'd broadcast from Mexico, and it'd be like, Wolfman Jack. And so this is what that Louisiana Hayride was like, from what I read. And so Merle in that town of Louisiana, like whenever the big stars would come in, like Hank Williams, he figured out real quick, I can hang around the hotel. When these artists come to town, I can help them with their luggage, help them carry their instruments, and just kind of be around them and ask questions and kind of be there, And he said that he said one day he got the nerve. I love this quote. He said, one day I got the nerve to ask one of the musicians. I said, hey, I'm thinking about being a musician myself. How do I break into the business? How do I get into the music business? And he said the musician kind of dragged on a cigarette and he thought about it. And he said, hang around somebody famous.
Yeah.
And I thought that was probably
pretty good advice.
That was probably said to him back in the 40s or the 50s. And it's still,
So, yeah, that advice works. Did you? I'm sure you saw "Walk the Line," about Johnny Cash.
Yep.
I remember watching that movie, and you see when they're on tour, and it's like him and June Carter, but also Jerry Lee Lewis, Roy Orbison, and Elvis.
Oh,
and the shows were like $5. Can you imagine going to see a show like that today with a lineup like that that's that strong?
Wow.
I couldn't even believe it, And who else? Jerry Lee Lewis I already mentioned, but and there were other, shows that were similar, like the big plane crash.
Oh,
was a touring group that, that was Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper, and Richie Valens. And I don't remember who it was.
Waylon Jennings? Was it Waylon Jennings?
I want to say Waylon Jennings.
They flipped the coin or something?
Flipped the coin and didn't go and lived, consequently. And it's just amazing how stuff like that happens,
Yeah. Yeah, it's so I thought that was a good quote. Another one, it was on and then he said that Merle said this about Hank Williams. He said he used to carry a little notepad like this. And this is, long before cell phones, obviously. And you have a little pencil and you stick it right in there in the spiral.
Yeah.
And he told Merle, he goes, he was always jotting stuff down. He goes, if something's funny, I write it down. If somebody says an interesting, and I'm like, that'd be a good song title, I'd write it down. Yeah. And he said, you never know when you're going to use it. And he said, I noticed he was reading these like these dime store romance novels. And he goes, and I told him one time, I said, man, why are you always reading those women magazines or those dime store romance novels? And he goes, are you crazy? He goes, this is where I get my song ideas from. Like you get song ideas from everything.
Well, he did write a song called "There's a Tear in My Beer," So that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I wrote a joke, and this is so weird, I wrote a joke back in like the early '90s, and I said, because my mom used to get those cheap $12 shoes from Kmart back in the day, and or however much they were. This is back, like I said, the '70s and '80s.
Back then, it was like $6 or something like that.
Probably, yeah. It was a big pile of shoes, and you had to find the matching, the left one and the right one. I mean, and I used to do a joke like, "Hey, is that Adidas? Adidas?" Where the kids would tease me, "Adidas with one stripe, stupid." And, but one of the jokes that I said is that they were so thin, I could. My joke was, I go, the shoe was so thin, and I'd stomp my foot. I go, I could step on a dime and tell the date, as if my foot can tell. And and I wrote that joke in my own mind. I came up with it like in 89, 90, 91. And then I'm listening to this Hank Williams song, and
Mhm.
he tells, and one of the lyrics in his song is where he talks about stepping on a coin, and he can tell if it's heads or tails
Yeah.
because he's worn out the soles on his shoes. And
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that's a really similar thought. Like, it's just weird. Like, I didn't steal it, and I didn't even hear that song until I was.
So you're saying you're the reincarnation of Hank Williams?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what you're driving at.
And that's why I drink out of a Texas coffee mug. You got it. That's right. Well, thanks for being on my show. Welcome
thanks
to the
for
Darren
having me.
Carter Pocket Party Podcast. Hey, Ride. No, yeah, but
But yeah,
anyways,
that that sounds very country lyric-esque. Like it sounds like a lot of the country style of storytelling.
I love that storytelling style. When a good country song hits you, like, not when it's forced, like some of the stuff that I hear now that's all auto-tuned, and I realize they're probably just trying to,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not as
You ever
into
watch?
it, but
I may have asked you this already, but you ever watch Stories from the Road?
no, but I'd like to.
Judge. It's,
oh yeah, you did. I got to watch that.
Yeah, I think you would really, really get a kick out of it because they do the whole first season, I think, is on country, and the whole second season is on hip hop. So it's really, really well done. It's worth seeing.
Hey, did you ever hear that one joke? I used to get, what do you get when you combine country and rap? Have you heard that one?
Mm-mm.
Okay, this joke was really going around probably when you were about 8 years old. So they used to say, what do you get when you combine country and rap?
Wait, are you going to say crap?
Yeah, I hate that joke. Yeah.
I've never heard that joke. But then I thought back to the other joke that you thought was funny. And I was like, wait, what does Darren think would be a funny ending to this joke? Oh, no. I hope it's not crap. I better ask him before he finishes telling.
No, I never thought that one was funny. I never thought the country rap crap. I never thought that one was funny. But I did think the other one was. I wouldn't say it was funny. I thought it was clever when he goes, "That cigarette is smoking. You're merely the sucker." Like, get it, sucker? Then you get the idea.
Now give me a blowjob.
Yeah. Speaking of cigarettes,
that's the end of that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the real punchline. I'm smoking. No, you're not. You're sucking. Now get to it. No, gosh. Jeez,
the podcast taking a real turn for the worse.
Yeah. That's the last time I hear. Yeah. Reader's Digest, the after hours. No. Yeah.
Pervert's Digest.
Yeah, Pervert's Digest. Oh man.
Well, I'm surprised that's not a thing already, but yeah.
Yeah. Hey, maybe. I was gonna say maybe you could start it, but
I don't want to start.
Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, it's. I want to say thanks for coming on, and if there is there any words of wisdom or anything we didn't cover, or something you've been thinking about since your last appearance that you'd like to share with the audience, something to get them through this weird time that we're in, man.
It's very easy. I tweeted this a few days ago, but I believe it's true. When there is nothing going on, it's very easy to forget the things that you're good at. So don't do that. Remind yourself that, like, oh, there's stuff out there that I'm good at, and when this is all over, I'll be able to do it again. And in the meantime, practice. Kind of what we're doing is practicing in a way for getting back in front of a real audience. I think everyone can kind of do that and kind of just like keep your skills sharp, because I know some people use this as an opportunity to really hone their skills. And you want to be that person, not the one who was just like, I didn't do anything and I got real fat. You want to do a little bit of the stuff that you love doing,
That's true. It's funny you say that. I know a boxer that he fought on ESPN and won the title, and I got to interview him. And Adam Blue Nose Lopez, and I asked him about that. I said, "What was it like? Were you like the first couple months? Were you just like laying around? That we didn't know when the thing was gonna And he's like, you know what? The first week, I just like a lot of people, I was a little bit apprehensive. Like, well, okay, we're gonna flatten the curve. And, you know, he goes, but he goes, and then the second week I kind of started, you know, still doing some light push-ups and stuff. And then he just got back into it. He said, you know what, I got to keep myself fine-tuned. And luckily he did, because he had the fight, man. You know, it'd be like, what if somebody, you know, reaches out to you tomorrow and is like, Mike, we want you to do that special. Everyone else left California. Are you available? And you're like, yeah.
I guess, yeah. I'd pull an all-nighter right now is what I'd do.
Exactly.
I'd go and get a bunch of Red Bull. And
yeah.
There's got to be something funny that happened during this time. I'm sure there was. I just can't remember it.
Dude, that's why I've been like jotting little notes down, like in I got, you know, on my phone, just jotting little notes down, stuff that's funny. Like, I don't know if it's, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to make it not all like coronavirus related.
You know, Hank Williams used to do that.
Oh, he did. That's right. Yeah.
He would jot little notes down.
Yeah. See, there you go. Oh, and no, okay. One last story with that, I'll tell you, and then we'll go. It was Merle Kilgore. He said that his a friend of his was going through a really rough divorce, and oh wait, hold on, hold on, hold on.
That was a great story.
Lyrics to Ring of Fire. I want to give this right. Okay, so a friend of his was going through a divorce, and he was able to read these love letters back then. You know, now we just send text messages or emails or whatever.
Right.
But he was actually got a stack of love letters, and he was reading these love letters. And one of the lines in the love letter, someone had said, is love is a burning thing, and it makes a fiery ring. And that's when he's like, damn, that sounds like it'd be a good lyric for a song. And he put it into Ring of Fire. Love is a burning thing, and it makes a fiery ring. Bound by wild desire, I fell into a ring of fire. That's good, man.
That is good.
Have
you done the Saltine challenge?
No, what's that? Where you like put one cracker in your mouth and then you try to... What is Saltine challenge?
No, I believe you have to put 4 crackers in your mouth, and you have to eat them, swallow them completely without water in 60 seconds.
Wow.
And it sounds like not that big of a accomplishment. Very, very few people can do it. And most of them, like, they have to like really gather up a bunch of saliva first. Or
drink a big thing of water.
I was thinking you could do it. Do you have any saltines there?
I don't.
Wow.
But
that's a big letdown.
I'm going to edit this to where I'm like, Mike, do you have any words of wisdom? You ever heard of the Saltine Cracker challenge? Collect your saliva.
I think you should give it a shot. Give it a whirl.
Yeah, I should. I don't like to play around with anything that because where you're choking and stuff. I mean, yeah.
It's a serious challenge, Darren. It's not.
I don't like to play around. Yeah. You know, have you ever I don't know. This has happened to me a few times where I'm drinking something and I'm laughing, and it goes down the wrong, and it's just like I was driving like a month ago, and I'm listening to some podcast or something, and there was this moment where I started. I don't know what happened. Something made me laugh so hard as I was drinking an iced coffee, and I went, "Wah!" And I spit all over my windshield. And
what a butthole! Who spits all over their windshield?
God, that was weird. Oh, yeah, it was crazy. But
you couldn't just spit it back in the cup.
No, it went all over the windshield, and I had to clean the windshield. But
no, I know that's what happened. I'm saying. Could you not have prevented that?
No, because it caught me off guard. It just caught me off guard. Like then it's just boom, and it's like, oh my gosh. And then I was like, okay, I told myself, okay, just you can breathe. And then I was like going to pull over, but I was able to catch my breath again. But man, there was that moment of like, wow, I'm gonna like
cause
drown
a car
on the I-5, you know, because somebody made me laugh. You know?
That would be the best tombstone. You drown on the I-5.
Yeah.
Everyone would
laughing
be like,
at a
what?
podcast. I know.
How did that happen?
Yeah. You know what's funny is I'm actually lying. It was the 99, but I try to make myself sound more like LA by saying the 5. It was the 99.
Right.
It was north of Bakersfield. It was near Oildale or Delano
Well,
or something.
That's what you get for heading out to Oildale and
Yeah.
listening to comedy on the way.
Hey, that sounds like a Hank Williams lyric. I drowned on the 99.
Heading out to
Listening to it.
Oildale.
Listen to a pot, looking for horny teachers at a Baskin Robbins. Mike, you're the best, man. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for coming on last minute. You're the best.
Yeah,
And,
thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I feel better now than I did before we started, so thank you.
Oh, good. Me too.
Seriously, man. Thank you. All right.
All right. Bye.
So the other day I was standing in the kitchen and my son was like, Dad, why did you write down that you weigh 190 pounds? I'm like, I never wrote that. And he goes, look. And he held up my driver's license. And I was like, ew. My wife goes, yeah, you're not supposed to put down your goal weight. You're supposed to put your actual weight. And then she looks at it again and she goes, and did you put your goal height? And I was like, I might have made myself look taller and thinner on my driver's license. And then my son starts breaking out into a song by Roy Orbison. Remember that? He was like, lying to the DMV. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching my YouTube video. And if you get a chance, watch one of these and subscribe. All right. Have a great day.